Imagine walking down the fruit aisle and spotting something that looks almost cosmic. It's dark, strikingly striped, and unlike any citrus you've ever seen on a South African shelf. This isn't just a new snack, it's a globally recognized innovation and a multi-award winner that has finally crossed hemispheres to make its grand debut. From the innovative orchards of Spain to an exclusive launch in Checkers supermarkets, a new era of citrus has arrived. What makes this fruit so disruptive, and why is everyone talking about its deep ruby secret? Let's dive into the dawn of Onix Citrus.
All right, today we're diving into something pretty cool. And no, it's not just about a new kind of fruit. This is a story about global strategy, about innovation, and really about how one company is trying to completely shake up the grocery store as we know it. So let's jump right in. Okay, first things first, just look at this thing. I mean, it looks kind of like an orange, but not really, right? That peel is almost black, and you've got these incredible stripes. It's definitely designed to make you stop and say, whoa, what is that?
So that's the big question, isn't it? If this is supposed to be the future of the fruit aisle, what in the world is it? If it's not your everyday orange, what are we actually looking at here? And why now?
Well, this is the Onyx, and it's a completely new kind of citrus. It's what they call a proprietary variety, which basically means its genetics are one of a kind and exclusively owned. And it's just made its big debut in South Africa, which, as you probably know, is a huge player in the global citrus game.
And listen, this isn't just some clever marketing play. The industry's top critics are already buzzing about it. I mean, look at this. Onyx has already snagged the super prestigious Innovation Award at Fruit Logistica and a Superior Taste Award. So what that tells you is that from the big idea all the way to the actual flavor, the experts are saying, yep, this thing is the real deal.
Okay, so how do they pull this off? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to break down the anatomy of this innovation and really see what makes the Onyx Citrus, well, what makes it tick. At first glance, okay, simple enough. The screen says this is an orange, but just take a second and really look at it. That deep, almost black color with those streaks of bright orange. Something here is very, very different.
Okay, so check this out. On the left, that's a Nadarkot mandarin. Totally familiar, right? That's what we expect citrus to look like. But then you look to the right, and well, that's our mystery guest. The difference is just stunning. It looks like it came from another planet, not another tree. And it's got a name that's every bit as cool and mysterious as it looks. This is the Onyx Orange. It's a brand new player in the citrus game, and you can definitely see why it's turning heads. Now this is what I find so fascinating. Here they are, just growing on the tree, in their natural habitat. Even surrounded by all that green, they look completely otherworldly. Those deep, dark colors and those vibrant stripes, that's not a filter. That's not a trick of the light. That is how they actually grow.
And here it is. Wow. Just look at that magnificent contrast. You cut through that dark, mysterious peel, and it opens up to reveal this incredibly vibrant, almost jewel-toned inside. It's a blood orange, sure, but the depth of that color is just breathtaking. It's just a work of art.
And yeah, the Onyx isn't just a pretty face. It's described as having a fascinating flavor and a delicate aroma. People say it's kind of reminiscent of the classic Sanguinelli blood orange, but with its own totally unique twist.
And that experience goes beyond just eating it, because that internal color is so ridiculously intense, the juice it makes has this incredible vibrant red color. It's just as stunning in a glass as it is in its own peel.
So the whole appeal of the Onyx really rests on these three main pillars. First up, you have that cosmic aesthetic. I mean, let's be real. In the age of Instagram, a fruit that looks this wild is basically engineered to go viral. It's what they call visual disruption. Then there's the ruby interior. This isn't just for looks. It promises this really complex, rich flavor that hits that perfect balance between sweet and tart. And finally, you've got nutritional density. This thing is absolutely packed with health benefits. And the science behind that amazing color and all those nutrients, it's actually pretty fascinating. It all comes down to something called anthocyanins. These are the same natural antioxidant pigments you find in superfoods, like blueberries or blackberries. The Onyx is just loaded with them, and that's what gives it that deep ruby color inside and a serious health boost.
But having an amazing fruit is one thing. Actually getting it to people all over the world, well, that's a whole other challenge. So let's take a look at how this little innovation is making a massive journey across hemispheres.
Okay, so the story starts in Spain. That's where Genesis Fresh and AMFresh first developed the Onyx.
Then comes what they call the jump, which is this huge transfer of intellectual property. We're talking the unique genetic code, the specialized farming know-how, everything. And where did it jump to? South Africa, a new frontier that's perfectly set up to grow onyx during the opposite season, which opens the door for a potential year-round supply. Super smart. You might, if you're very lucky, spot a display just like this one. And that new and exclusive sign, it says everything you need to know. This fruit is being sold as a rare find, a premium experience for anyone who's curious enough to go look for it.
And they are being distributed. You can see cases just like these making their way from Spain out into different markets. But its availability is super specialized, and that is completely by design. So for example, if you live in the Netherlands, only one company, Wilco Fruit, is allowed to distribute it. That's what we call an exclusive deal, and it means the onyx isn't just going to be popping up everywhere. It really adds to the fruit's rarity and its whole mystique.
And Luis Miguel from AMFresh in Spain really nails it with this quote. He says, "This isn't just about planting trees in a new place. It's about proving that a brilliant idea, an innovation, can literally travel across the planet to create real value for everyone, from the retailers all the way down to the shoppers."
Now, pulling up a global move like that, that requires an incredibly tight, well-oiled partnership. So let's dig into the farm-to-shelf model they built to actually make this happen. This entire operation really breaks down into 3 key stages. It all starts with the genetics, right? The core innovation from AMFresh. From there, local South African farmers take the reins, figuring out how to best cultivate it in their specific environment. And then finally, the retail heavyweight Shoprite Group, through their Freshmark division, steps in to manage the exclusive distribution and get it in front of customers. It's a completely seamless chain from start to finish.
And if you look at it from the retail side, Quentin Paladin over at Freshmark basically confirms this whole strategy. He sees this as a perfect example of how they're constantly looking for ways to innovate what they offer. By making the Onyx launch so limited and exclusive, it becomes a premium experience, which just ramps up the excitement and curiosity for shoppers.
And this shot just illustrates their in-store strategy perfectly. On the left, you've got your standard, perfectly good Onix Citrus. But on the right, you have the Onyx display. That visual contrast is just bam! It's immediate, it's powerful, it doesn't just look like a different orange, it looks like it belongs in a whole different category. If we break down their launch strategy in South Africa, you can see some really smart tactics at play. First, they used big, bold signs to frame the Onyx as this exciting, disruptive new thing. Second, they sold them loose. This is key, because it lets shoppers just try one without having to buy a whole bag. It lowers the barrier to entry. And third, and this was the killer move, that visual contrast, placing them right next to regular oranges to make that unique look pop even more. And that last step, the retail part, was absolutely crucial. They didn't just put the fruit out and cross their fingers. No, the strategy was totally deliberate. They used high-visibility signs to frame it as this new, exclusive thing. They sold the oranges loose, which is so key because it lets shoppers just try one without having to buy a whole bag. And they put them right next to regular oranges to create this amazing visual contrast, making that unique dark peel impossible to ignore.
But look, this pilot launch in South Africa, it's really just the beginning. It's a critical piece of a much, much bigger puzzle, one that could totally redefine the future of how we get our fruit from around the globe.
The ultimate goal here is incredibly ambitious. They want to create a world where a premium citrus fruit like the Onyx is available 365 days a year. No more seasonal gaps, just amazing fruit, all the time. And if you thought that made it hard to find, here's the real kicker. The season for Onyx oranges is unbelievably short. We are talking a window of only about 2 months. That's it. If you want to try one, you have to move fast. The whole global strategy really hinges on this one powerful idea, getting the 2 halves of the world to work in perfect sync. You have the northern hemisphere, mostly Spain, which is the original source of the Onyx, but its harvest happens in a really short window. So, the southern hemisphere, starting with South Africa, is being developed to grow the exact same premium fruit, but during the complete opposite time of year. So how are they going to do that? This chart really lays it out. You've got Spain providing the main Onyx harvests, that's the premium headline products. Then you have the South African pilot, which is being groomed to become the future counter-seasonal supplier. But to make sure there are never any gaps, they lean on what they call volume anchors. Reliable, high-quality citrus like the Nauticot from Morocco and Peru. Every single region has a specific coordinated role to play. It's like a global orchestra. And you know, this strategy is bigger than just one kind of orange.
To have a stable, year-round premium citrus category, you need two things. On one hand, you need a headliner, something exciting like the Onyx, to drive interest and get that premium price. But on the other hand, you need a reliable, high-volume staple, like the classic Moroccan Nadorkat mandarin, to anchor demand and fill any gaps. Their team.
Okay, so let's put it all together with this matrix. Look at the top left. That's the Spanish Onyx, your premium novelty from the north. Top right? That's the South African Onyx Pilot, and its whole job is to supply that same novelty during the north's off-season. Makes sense, right? Now, bottom left, you have the Moroccan Nadorkat, that's your high-volume workhorse bridging the seasons. And bottom right, Nadorkats from Peru and South Africa jump in to make sure that staple is always there. See? Every single quadrant has a very specific job in this global plan.
And this is what it looks like over a whole year. It's a seamless 365-day cycle. You've got the northern peak season at the start of the year, then comes this critical handover period where the late Moroccan Nadorkats keep the volume up. Summer is totally dominated by the southern hemisphere. And finally, you get a global bridging period to transition everything back to Spain. It's really a logistical masterpiece.
So when you put it all together, the Onyx launch gives us a really powerful blueprint for the future of produce. It's a model that's built on 1. Total end-to-end integration, all the way from genetics to the grocery shelf. 2. Logistical mastery, blending this disruptive new hero product with reliable staples. And 3. Creating this incredible synergy between the northern and southern hemispheres to guarantee that year-round availability. And as Yolanda Schumann from AMFresh South Africa puts it, this is all about partnership. The whole point is to bring new energy into a category that, let's face it, hasn't seen this kind of disruption in a very long time. It's about creating value for absolutely everyone in the chain, from the farmer to the person eating the fruit.
When you boil it all down, the story of the Onyx really shows us one thing: that massive, world-changing innovation can start from something as simple, as familiar as a single piece of fruit.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. If this level of innovation, we're talking genetic, logistical, and marketing genius, can be applied to something as basic as an orange, well, what other parts of our daily lives are about to be completely reinvented? What do you think is next for your grocery store?
Welcome to the debate. So, usually the produce aisle is essentially, well, nature's calendar. You look in the bins and you know exactly what season it is.
Right. Apples in the fall, citrus in the winter.
Exactly. But right now there's this near black striped blood orange called the Onyx that's debuting in South Africa, and it is completely rewriting that calendar.
I mean, it really does look like a tiny edible bowling ball.
It totally does. And, it's sparking a massive shift in how we source produce. I think this end-to-end global distribution model, basically linking the northern and southern hemisphere seasons for 365-day availability, is a brilliant evolution in our food supply.
Yeah. Well, you see it as evolution. I'm looking at this as more of a marketing Trojan horse, honestly.
A Trojan horse?
Yes. I worry that this highly engineered, aesthetic-driven fruit production risks turning freemium agriculture into just another, superficial retail gimmick.
Okay, but let's look at the mechanics of this rollout, though. The agricultural innovators behind this, AMFresh and Genesis Fresh, they aren't just shipping fruit. They're creating a permanent pipeline.
Right.
By partnering with the Shoprite Group to pilot this in Checkers supermarkets in South Africa, they're seamlessly connecting global citrus seasons. And the Onyx itself has real nutritional muscle.
Muscle?
Yeah, it's packed with anthocyanins. Those are the antioxidants that give it that deep ruby interior, and they actually protect the fruit against environmental stress, which, by the way, translates to a longer shelf life and incredible flavor.
Okay. The genetics are impressive, sure, I'll give you that. But if you walk into one of those South African Checkers supermarkets right now as a shopper, what you're witnessing is fundamentally, aesthetic disruption.
How so?
They aren't selling the science. They're selling visual shock value. I mean, the fruit is piled loose with massive Trimium new signage.
Well, yeah, they have to introduce it somehow.
But it's intentionally placed right next to standard bright oranges just to make that dark, striped peel pop. It makes me ask, is engineering a cosmic aesthetic actually advancing agriculture? Or is it just a manufactured way to spike consumer impulse buying?
Look, I'll admit, seeing a pitch black orange next to a standard navel is a bit jarring for the average shopper. but you really have to look past the peel.
Hard to do when it's pitch black.
Very funny. But that visual contrast is just the anchor for a massive logistical chain. Take the Moroccan handover, for example.
Ah, right, the logistics.
Yeah, because the Spanish Onyx season only lasts 2 months. So to keep this on shelves year-round, global distributors seamlessly swap in massive volumes of Moroccan mandarins. It acts as a bridge until the Southern Hemisphere crops are ready.
Right, but
Mechanically, this trains consumers to keep coming back to the citrus aisle, right? It prevents that traditional seasonal drop-off in sales.
wait, who actually benefits from that stabilization? I mean, the Moroccan handover is brilliant for global distributors trying to keep their quarterly revenue flat.
It keeps the market stable.
Does it? Forcing a 365-day cycle for a premium novelty item completely alters local farming economies. Are we really integrating advanced varietal innovation to benefit South African farmers long term?
I mean, they are part of the pipeline now.
Or are those farmers just serving as like the Southern Hemisphere cog in a corporate machine? Honestly, we're erasing the inherent value in the anticipation of seasonal agriculture.
I think that totally underestimates what the consumer is actually getting here. Think of the Onyx less like traditional produce and more like, I don't know, an Apple product release.
Oh, come on. A fruit as a smartphone?
Bear with me. They didn't just grow a fruit. They engineered the hardware. It's a deeply calibrated interior with high anthocyaninic levels for measurable nutritional density. Then they paired it with an aesthetic dark mode shell to create a specific user experience.
Dark mode? Really?
Yes, Genesis Fresh dialed in the exact balance of sweetness and acidity. The outside gets you to pick it up, sure, but the engineered hardware inside is why you buy it again.
I just don't buy that the hardware is the primary driver here. If that calibrated flavor and nutrition were the true selling points, the entire pilot wouldn't rely so heavily on curiosity about a nearly black peel.
Aesthetics matter in retail, you can't deny that.
But selling it loose specifically to overcome consumer hesitation, that's a classic tactic for a retail gimmick. It frames the fresh fruit aisle as a place for impulse novelty. You're treating an agricultural product like a new flavor of snack food rather than, essential sustenance.
Well, we definitely weigh the implications differently. For me, the sheer logistical achievement of connecting global hemispheres, it provides unprecedented, uninterrupted access to serious agricultural innovation.
Yeah, I really think it's a blueprint for the future of our food supply.
And while I absolutely acknowledge the genetic and supply chain feats required to pull this off, I'm keeping my cautionary stance on this. Treating fresh fruit primarily as a retail disruption could steer our agricultural priorities away from the natural rhythms of farming.
Fair enough. There is obviously still so much to explore regarding how varietal innovation will shape local farming economies in the future.
Definitely. So next time you're in the produce section, looking at that familiar seasonal rotation, ask yourself, is a splash of disruptive, near-black citrus exactly what the food supply needs, or are we just painting over the natural calendar of the earth?